Let's dive right into a very specific yet entirely relatable scenario. It's exactly 2 a.m. Your eyes suddenly pop open, you're staring up at the ceiling, and you feel that familiar sinking knot of dread in your stomach. You're lying there in the dark thinking, why on earth can't I sleep? What is fundamentally wrong with me? It's incredibly frustrating, right? Well, in today's explainer, we're going to solve this ancient mystery. We are actually going back to the prehistoric campfire to uncover a long-forgotten secret about exactly why our bodies wake us up in the middle of the night. See, our fast-paced modern world has pretty much wiped out our ancient habits. Because of that, we all carry around this massive assumption that waking up at midnight means you have a broken brain or a bad habit. But what if waking up at 2 a.m. isn't a disease at all? What if, instead of being a glitch in your system, it's a perfect reflection of our evolutionary past, a biological signal trying to tell us something absolutely vital about who we really are?
Nowadays, if you mention this to a doctor, modern medicine usually slaps a label on it. They'll call it insomnia or a sleep disorder, and maybe prescribe a pill. But let's contrast that with our evolutionary reality. For literally 99.9% of human history, humanity lived by a completely different rhythm. Our ancestors' lives were dictated entirely by the sun, the stars, and pure, unadulterated darkness. To truly understand this midnight waking, we have to rewind the clock.
All right, Section 1. The Hostile Dark and the Miracle of Fire.
Picture this. We're going back about 1 million years. For almost all of human existence, the night meant exactly one thing: absolute pitch-black darkness. The sun goes down, and boom, the day is over. Period. There was no conquering the night. Wandering around in the dark was a remarkably quick way to become a midnight snack for predators like leopards and hyenas, creatures custom-built for hunting in the pitch black. So early humans did the only logical thing. They hid in total silence. But then an absolute miracle happened in places like Wonderwork Cave in South Africa. Humans discovered how to control fire. Suddenly, out of nowhere, they had this 30-foot circle of light and safety. Inside that 30-foot circle, warmth, community, and thriving life. Step outside of it, almost certain death. This wasn't just a way to stay warm on a chilly night. It was literally our very first weapon against the terrifying dark, and it was the ultimate game changer for our species.
Which brings us to Section 2, From Survival to Storytelling.
You see, fire didn't just give us heat and safety. By carving out that tiny, glowing pocket in a hostile world, fire gifted humans with something incredibly precious: extra hours of awake time after the sun went down. And those extra hours, they literally birth human culture and social bonding as we know it today. There's this phenomenal 2014 study by anthropologist Polly Wiesner, where she observed Kalahari tribes to track exactly what people do at that time. During the daytime, it's all about practicality. A massive 80% of their conversations were focused just on hunting, gathering, and the daily grind of survival. During the day, there simply wasn't the time or mental energy for much else.
But after the sun went down, the dynamic completely flipped. Around the nighttime campfire, a staggering 81% of conversations shifted entirely away from survival and went directly into storytelling. They shared jokes, they talked about distant relatives, they pondered how the universe was created. This right here is exactly where deep social bonding was born. The fire shifted humanity's entire focus from mere survival to profound human connection.
Just basking in the glow of the fire, humans finally had the safety and the mental space to imagine things way beyond their immediate present. It's like the campfire became our first theater, our first classroom, and honestly, our first church. These extra hours of safety are actively what forged our empathy and our intelligence. Sharing complex myths and beliefs within that 30-foot circle of light is quite literally what shifted us into the profoundly social, intelligent creatures we are today.
Now for Section 3, the era of segmented sleep.
Keeping that campfire culture in mind, let's fast forward a bit to the year 2001. Historian Roger Ekirch decided to analyze over 5,000 historical documents. We're talking old diaries, literature, medical texts, the whole shebang. And what he uncovered completely shattered our modern concept of a continuous 8-hour sleep block. Turns out, for millennia, humans absolutely did not sleep straight through the night. They practiced what's called a segmented rhythm. Basically, they had a first sleep which started a few hours after sunset and lasted for about 4 hours. Then they actively woke up for a period of 1 to 2 hours, which they called the watch, and after that they just went right back to bed for a second sleep, lasting another 4 hours until morning.
Now, this is the part that absolutely blows my mind. Waking up during the watch was completely normal. Nobody panicked or angrily stared at a clock. Instead, they used this peaceful, pitch-black time for intimacy and reflection. It was a deeply tranquil extension of that ancient campfire culture. People prayed, they'd safely go visit their neighbors in the quiet dark, they'd discuss the bizarre dreams they had just woken up from, and, historically speaking, it was actually the prime time for starting families. It was a highly social, highly anticipated part of the night.
Now you might be thinking this is just some weird historical quirk, but the science proves this is still hardwired into our biology. Back in 1992, psychiatrist Thomas Ware ran an experiment where he placed people in an environment with exactly 14 hours of daily darkness, basically mimicking the long nights before artificial light. Guess what happened? Within just a month, without any prompting at all, their bodies naturally reverted to this exact ancient segmented sleep pattern. And here's the biological reality. Researchers found that during that midnight waking, participants had exceptionally high levels of a hormone called prolactin. Prolactin actually triggers feelings of profound peace and meditation. So biologically, that 2 a.m. waking is meant to be a state of incredible peace, not a stressful disorder.
So what happened? Section 4. The Death of Darkness. If this beautifully segmented rhythm is so natural and so peaceful, how exactly did we lose it? Well, we lost it through a slow technological march that systematically wiped out our darkness, the very environment our bodies relied on for hundreds of thousands of years. Let's track it. It started in the 1600s with the first street lamps in Paris and London, slowly pushing back the dark. Then, the 1800s brought cheaper, widespread gas lamps to the masses. And finally, the ultimate knockout punch came in 1879 when Thomas Edison introduced the electric incandescent bulb. Just like that, darkness was completely conquered, and our ancient, segmented sleep was squeezed forcefully into a single, unnatural, continuous block of time.
Actually, just to show you how deeply embedded this rhythm of the campfire and communal darkness was in our ancestors' daily lives, think about the word curfew. Today, it just means a time you have to be home. But linguistically, it originates from the French phrase couvre-feu, which literally translates to cover the fire or extinguish the fire. It was the specific time of night when the communal campfire was put out, signaling to everyone that the village was entering the sacred time of sleep and pure, uninterrupted darkness.
Today, though, we've replaced the comforting glow of that communal campfire with the harsh glare of screens and LEDs. And man, there is a heavy biological cost for this modern convenience. When you expose your eyes to blue light at 11 p.m., from your phone or your living room lights, you are literally tricking your ancient brain into thinking the sun is still up. This completely hacks our internal clock and delays the release of our absolutely essential sleep hormone, melatonin, which in natural darkness would trigger perfectly in sync with the sunset.
But there's good news. Section 5. Reawakening our biology.
Okay, I know the screen stuff sounds a bit grim, but the damage is not permanent. Our bodies can recover incredibly quickly. We've got a real glimmer of hope here, because our 300,000-year-old biological rhythm is incredibly resilient. Research shows that if you spend just 1 week camping out in nature, I mean completely ditching artificial light and screens, living only by sunlight and the glow of a real campfire, you can completely reconnect to this profoundly peaceful evolutionary sleep cycle. Doing this resets your melatonin cycle backwards by a full 2 hours. 1 single week in the natural dark is enough to bring that ancient rhythm right back to the surface. It is still inside you, just waiting.
So as we bring this explainer to a close, I want to leave you with one final thought. We essentially traded the profound meditative peace of the midnight watch for the convenience of a light switch. But those ancient echoes haven't vanished. The next time your eyes pop open at 2 a.m., instead of instantly reaching for your phone or stressing out about the clock, I want you to completely rethink that moment. Is this just modern insomnia? Or is it your 300,000-year-old biology gently calling you back to the warmth, the safety, and the deep social connection of the campfire? Take a deep, peaceful breath in the quiet dark and just enjoy the tranquility. Thanks so much for joining me today.